this is the, what do you do if you lose your device? The first thing a lot of people do is they call up the carrier and say, oh my God, I lost my device, turn it off. And in the case of a smartphone, that's the last thing you want to do. If that phone gets its service canceled, you can't issue any of the remote wipe commands. So don't wipe the phone or don't kill the service. And then as far as like business owned and actually even personal owned, you should probably tell someone to wipe the phone. In a lot of corporate environments with Exchange, you have to contact their Exchange administrator, tell them, hey, I lost my phone, and they can go in there and wipe it. One of the nice things about Exchange 2007 and 2010, any user can actually log into the OWA, the Outlook for Web Access portal, and tell it to remotely wipe the phone. It actually knows that you have a phone paired with it. You log in through any web browser from anywhere and just tell it, hey, wipe my phone. It gives you a confirmation. Are you really sure you want to do this? Tell it yes, and assuming the phone is still on, it will wipe it.
Okay, so and then you find it.
If the phone's turned off, and they issue the wipe, and they turn it on, will the wipe take effect?
As soon as it starts talking to whoever network, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, as soon as it starts talking to that, it'll start issuing the command.
Right. But if you wipe your phone, you can still reset it, or if you find it later on.
Yeah. In some cases, if you call up the carrier and say, hey, disconnect my service or whatever, or my phone was stolen, you can actually tell them, hey, just completely kill the phone. So that way, if someone has stolen it, every phone has a unique number. That unique number is killed. It will never be able to work again. So you can also look at it that way. And I think you can beg them if you actually find your phone to say, hey, turn it back on.
Just kidding.
This was kind of what I was talking about with the remote wipe, what can do it. The big thing here is, yes, you can remote wipe a phone, and every one of them you can. The problem is the version numbers I have written there. iPhone version 3, yes, you can remote wipe it, but there's not too many iPhone 2s or the older ones, but if you happen to have one, you can't remote wipe it without third party. Blackberries, absolutely, you can wipe them, and I've done that several times. Windows Mobile 6.5, you can remote wipe those, and like I mentioned, they will do the memory card. Windows Phone 7 will wipe, it doesn't have a memory card. You can issue the remote wipe there. And Android, again, version 2.2 and greater, you can remote wipe. And Android 2.2 when it came out last June or something like that. The frightening statistic I saw about that, the Androids, version 2.3 came out in December. There's less than 1% of the phones out there using 2.3. There's something like only a quarter of the Android devices out there are running 2.2. That means everything else out there, you can't remote wipe. So it's kind of pay attention to what you have and keep it up to date. If that's something you're concerned about. And again, with the memory cards on the Androids, I couldn't tell you. It's dependent on the carrier, it's dependent on the device. Not all of them will do it though. This is a little bit of what we were talking about, with some good things to do. Have a good password, and like you mentioned, yeah, it's a pain in the butt to use. The best argument you can say is make your PIN code on it and just memorize the pattern. Pick up your phone, and without even looking at it, you should be able to type in that passcode. It should become a muscle memory reaction. That's how you make the passcode not an annoying thing. There. Encrypted data, like I said, the newer iPhones, they just automatically do that. Windows Phone 7, all of them basically do that, but a lot of them have additional options where you can encrypt more data on them. And Bluetooth, hopefully Bluetooth. turn it off if you're not using it. In addition to wasting about a quarter of your battery life, there are numerous security holes in using Bluetooth.
Why don't you explain?
Bluetooth, most people have gotten used to the dorky-looking Borg implants that people wear. But Bluetooth is more than just the headset. It's actually a whole communication protocol. The original specs for Bluetooth mentioned something like being able to control your toaster that's Bluetooth enabled with your Bluetooth enabled computer or something like that. It's just a very broad communication protocol. And it allows things like sending contacts. A lot of the phones out there that have Bluetooth on them, you can actually just press a button and it'll transmit your like your business card from your phone to another Bluetooth-enabled device. Something that's built into it. Another thing that's built in is file exchange called OBEX, Object Exchange, where you can send a file between the two, so you don't have to email between two devices to get a file to someone or a picture to someone. When you start talking and stuff like that, though, there's always security holes. And
Good question about the Bluetooth.
yeah.
I use my Bluetooth headset all the time. And you're saying to turn off Bluetooth Discovery?
Well, if you can, definitely turn off Discovery. That means nothing can really find you. I mean, the headset will still be able to talk. They are paired devices. They send their own special "Hi, how you doing" to each other. So that works.
Discovery is other Bluetooth.
Discovery is a very open to the world. Hi, I'm over here. Actually, I went to a conference last year and someone set up a booth with a computer and a Bluetooth device on it, and it just had a list of all these devices showing up on the screen. By a couple hours into the conference, there was over 200 devices in this list. This was all Bluetooth devices that walked by that booth. They were all wide open and there for pairing with.
If you think about it, about a year or so ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, we were talking about wireless networks and how if you go to a Starbucks or you go to a place that has a wireless network, you want to make sure that your computer isn't visible to the rest of the network. It's the exact same thing here. Because what ends up happening with a Bluetooth is, like Lori was saying, if you've got the Droid implant, as Kevin refers to them, then you've got a relationship. There's a handshake that goes on between those two devices. That's cool. But in order for me to send my business card information to your device by Bluetooth, there's not so much of a secure connection because this is a one-time only thing. Okay, so, and then you've got these devices are just out there.
I have a Palm Pre, and when I turn on Bluetooth Discovery, my headset doesn't connect.
There are some devices that just don't like that. I've seen a lot of newer things. Discovery, you turn it on and it turns itself off after like 60 seconds or something. It basically gives you a minute window to pair your devices. That way they can talk to each other.
Even after I paired it?
Yes.
I just turned it off. And it won't connect.
Yeah.
That's Palm.
You notice we haven't talked a lot about Palm.
You notice they were at the bottom of the list.
I'm getting rid of it tomorrow, but
Okay.
trying to figure out what.
All right, you got your...
This guy, something I've heard about a while ago. It's actually a very powerful directional antenna that you would hook up to a Bluetooth radio. I've heard these things having a range up to several miles. So someone could be sitting way over there, pointing that rifle into this room, and be picking up any of the broadcasting Bluetooth devices that are here. You would never know it. Generally, Bluetooth only has a range of about 25 feet, I think, 30 feet. And, this will let you go way over there. Now, the whole point of this was that people can start talking to the devices, and if there's any kind of exploits or backdoors or anything like that, they would use those to take over your device to install, let's say, something that's going to key walk. If you have a computer, you can have someone who's typing along, and here, they installed something that was watching every key you were typing. Or they can transmit a virus onto your computer. or piggyback on your phone for an internet connection if they want it. I mean, these are all just secure little things that you can do with this. That's why I say if you can turn off Bluetooth, turn it off, and especially turn off the discovery mode if you need to keep it on.
And then think about it, how many of us then sync the files back to our desktop. So, well, yeah. I like Sniper Kitty.
This was all
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin had the other one, and so I brought up Sniper Kitty.
No, yeah, just going back to minimize risk. The passwords, something I've seen a lot of people do, they'll just email themselves the password and kind of tuck that onto the device somewhere. Well, now you have a completely unencrypted, wide open password sitting there, so if someone happens to pick up the phone, they don't have to search that hard. Most of the devices even have a built-in search feature. So why don't you just search for the word password and see how many things pop up on the device that contain password. Typically, you want to use a password storage. There's a lot of applications out there for the iPhone, for the BlackBerry. Actually, RIM makes one. It's pretty nice. Android, it's one program that stores all the passwords you give it encrypted. And you only have to remember one password to get to the other passwords. So it's, again, more difficult because you just can't open it up and there it is. But if someone compromised your phone, they're not going to be able to get all of your other passwords.
Yeah, and if the device is going to go from your hands to somebody else's, wipe it. You know, same thing as if you're giving somebody else your computer.
What kind of phone do you have, Kevin?
Windows Mobile 6.5.
Why?
Not so much the security stuff. I'm actually going to pre-order an Android device. My phone was kind of dying, and it's like I should probably get something. But there's a lot of features on it. One of the big things about the Verizon iPhone that's coming out is the Wi-Fi tethering, where you can just set the iPhone down and 5 devices over Wi-Fi can talk over through the phone to the internet. I've had that capability on my phone for over 2 years now. There's the USB mass storage mode where I can use my phone like a memory stick like you would plug in your computer. I've had that feature for over 2 years now. For me, any of the Android and Windows Mobile 7 and Apple, they're actually a step backwards in functionality. And I didn't want to make that compromise. Now with the newer Androids, it's starting to get those features back. And I'm going to finally upgrade to something else.
So how's your Angry Birds?
Fruit Ninja.
Okay.
What did you say?
Fruit Ninja. My wife's addicted to that now.
And she's got Windows 7.
She's got a Windows Phone 7.
Cool. And let's see, actually. Do you have any question? Oh, wait. 3G versus 4G.
This is a great topic. You see all the advertisements for 4G out there?
Yeah.
Well, actually, all the carriers started calling the next generation thing 4G. That makes sense. But if you actually look at the FCC records on what they're calling 4G, they're actually subsets of 3G. You see a lot of reference to a thing called HSPA+. It's a 3G protocol. But sales and marketing needed their brand new shiny thing, and they started calling it 4G. Eventually, the FCC or one of those governing bodies caved in and said, fine, call it 4G. The original specs for 4G are about 10 times faster than any of the current stuff that's labeled 4G.
So is anyone doing real 4G right now?
No. It's still probably 5 to 10 years away from anything doing original spec 4G.
So if they say they're doing 4G, you're still going to get a better performance out of it. But it's more through smoke and mirrors. Oh, not smoke and mirrors. It's a different way of using the exact same protocol.
Yeah.
Some of them are better than others.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.